everybody. Jess here with IGN's E3 live show for 2010, streaming straight from the show floor on e3.ign.com and YouTube. The gang at IGN is ready to blow your mind with 3 days of game demos, interviews, and new footage of all the biggest games here. But if that wasn't enough, we'll also be giving away some cool prizes each day via Twitter. Yeah, we know how much you guys like that free stuff, so make sure and stay tuned for the details. And for you viewers out there, if you have any comments about the show, hit us up on our Twitter at IGN, hashtag IGN Live, or join us on our Facebook. Anyway, there's a lot of awesome things headed your way, so let's get the ball rolling with something rather epic, and I do mean epic. Rev up those chainsaws because we're kicking off E3 2010 with Gears of War 3.
Hey, I'm Hillary Goldstein. I'm here with Cliff Bleszinski, who is the design director at Epic Games, here to show off Gears of War. So Cliff, you know, we're going to start off with the E3 demo that you showed at the Microsoft press conference, but we will end with something completely awesome. You mentioned at the press conference that there was a new mode called Beast Mode, and we're going to kind of reveal it for the first time today.
Yeah, originally when we were thinking about the script, we were like, yeah, let's talk about it, let's explain it. It's like, no, it'd actually be cooler to like let everybody wonder for like a day and a half what it is. So we're just like, yeah, it's Beast. Everyone's like, what does that mean? What could that be? So we actually have the first footage ever shown here.
But I think it'd be kind of cool if we tease people for a little while longer. Well, I want to go through the E3 demo first.
Yeah, sure.
That way people can continue to wonder for the next 5 minutes or so, thinking what could Beast be?
Yeah, keep them waiting.
Yeah, so what's new about Gears of War? So people maybe who don't remember how Gears of War 2 ended, can you set up the story a little bit?
Well, so at the end of Gears of War 2, Marcus and Delta Squad sunk Jacinto, which flooded the underground of the planet. It seemed to stop the Locust for a while, but it's been 18 months since the event of the last game, and now we have a new threat that's known as the Lambent. And these are these kinds of ever-mutating, kind of rebirth Locust-like creatures that are really, really tough to defeat, and they explode upon death, so that's an added extra element of danger. What we're seeing right now, we just saw the bayonet charge with the Retro Lancer. Just kind of get that, pick a Locust up, stab him through the chest, and drop him, which is very visceral, very entertaining. Got a new digger launcher, which is kind of like an underground mine, a little creature that eats. This is me piloting right now and trying to not get killed. This is a new move that is called the mantle kick. You can climb over cover, kick a Locust over, grab him, and then take him as a hostage and attach a grenade to him and send him towards the bad guy, take him out. Then I inadvertently knocked down Cole with that explosion. One of the other things we want to have is greater co-op interactions. So right here we have weapon swaps. I wound up getting a Lancer right here from Anya, so you can change weapons and ammo with your buddies. That's cool, right? Here you can see the Locusts who've been knocked out by the Lambent creatures. They kind of deploy by these stalks, which are these kind of tree-like organic substances. There's a Lambent right there. We also have a Drudge who mutates right there, one of the other Lambent types. Crazy arms flying out, tears a Locust in half right here, kind of top of the food chain now, right? One of our guys is getting fried by this kind of emulsion flame. We can pop their different arms, take them out with a couple clips. They wind up exploding upon death. Some of those guys wind up leaving their kind of head and neck around you have to take out as well, kind of like The Thing, right?
Right.
It's a lot more of a lush environment that you've seen in previous Gears of War games, not just that destroyed European architectural look that we have, right?
So let me ask this. The tagline for Gears of War 2 was bigger, badder, more badass. Is this biggerer, badderer?
There's no fancy tagline for this. It's just going to be the best looking, most enjoyable, most feature rich, and most importantly, the most polished Gears game you've seen yet. There's a lot going on though, right? You get a chainsaw kick. If you chainsaw an enemy who explodes, you're probably going to want to kick him away from you and get him away when they blow up, right? The Lambent mutate in different ways. This one kind of mutates like a tree and is taller, spawning these little polyp-like creatures from below, these kind of like fast little crab-like monsters. He winds up popping, and then a larger threat comes out in a minute here, which was kind of the pleasing moment from the press conference. Everybody loved the Berserker in the first Gears of War, so we're like, how can we make the Berserker better, right?
Let's mutate him, right?
Let's mutate her, let's add some crazy tentacles, and let's make her faster, give her a jumping ability, and make her even uglier than ever.
Let me ask this question. So the Lambent and the regular Locust do not like each other.
They do not. It's kind of a three-way battle right now, right?
Okay.
And the Lambent aren't really an organized force. They're kind of like this organic force of nature that just takes out anything that's in their way. So the Locusts are still tough. They have new ways to surprise you. But the Lambent are fast. They explode upon death. They mutate dynamically, and they're crazy. It's a great sequence. We're trying to avoid this bugger coming after me. Trying to wait for the Hammer of Dawn coming online. Trying to avoid everybody getting killed by the Lambent Berserker. Notice the Hammer of Dawn effects are improved. It's the latest Unreal Engine. We have amazing God beams coming out of the sky. It really pushes the Xbox 360 even further than Gears of War 2 did. And big finish.
Well, if you're going to finish, you got to finish big, and this is
I
this is
mean,
a pretty
there's what
crazy
better
ending.
way to finish than having a giant laser beam on your butt with a giant Lambent Berserker at the same time. Oh, we
Exactly.
also have exosuits right now. You can see the silverback mechs right there kicking the door shut. And then here's the entire group of Delta right there, wondering if we in fact did fry that bitch.
Is Cole your favorite character you've ever created?
What's that?
Is Cole your favorite character you've ever created?
I am very, I love Cole because he's just such a big, pile of charisma. But we have new characters such as Jace, who is featured in the comic books. We just announced he's being voiced by the rapper Drake. And we're announcing some other new voice cast this week that's we're pretty excited about.
Very cool. And then one of the other big changes for Gears of War 3 is that we're finally going to see female cogs.
Yeah, female Gears are finally kind of taking place. Previously in the Gears world, females were kind of regulated to this bedside mode where they had to give birth all the time because humanity's population was dwindling. Now all bets are off, everybody's stranded now, and we have female Gears. Anya has evolved kind of from a pencil pusher, at a desk to somebody who can really hold her own in combat. And then we have Samantha Byrne, who can really hold her own alongside with Anya. And we take our female Gears seriously in this game. We love, sexy characters as much as the next guy. But in this universe, we wanted to really take it seriously. So you can see our females are proportioned fairly reasonably. They're not half naked because it just wouldn't make sense for combat. And I think our female fans of the franchise will respect that a lot.
You want to go for the Sigourney Weaver and Alien kind of look,
yeah,
right?
A little Sarah Connor, a little Sigourney Weaver.
Right.
What would Jim Cameron do as opposed to what would Lowrider Magazine do?
Not that there's anything wrong with what Lowrider Magazine
Oh, absolutely.
does.
That kind of look has its own place, but in a world where everything is falling apart, we want to know that our girls are tough, that they can handle themselves, and they can hang alongside the boys. And they're not just sex objects, right? It's very, very important that we take it seriously. Here we're Lancer bayonet charging one of the drudges who pops upon death. There's really a lot going on here, and it's so tricky to cover it all in a short period of time.
Of course. I think people have waited long enough. They want to know. Let's just hop right in, do beast mode, and you can tell everybody sort of what the big surprise is about this.
Well, so previously we had Horde mode in Gears 2, and everybody seemed to like that.
Everybody loved it. Amazing.
I mean, a lot of games suddenly started shipping with a Horde mode. We're like, cool, I guess that means we did something right. So we're like, well, how can we switch that up? What's the interesting thing that we could do? And we decided, what if you could play as not only the Locust, bipedal characters, but what about the monsters? What if you could run along the floor as a ticker and try and suicide bomb your enemies? What if you could play as a boomer and you could try and take out Marcus Phoenix? What if you could play as a berserker and you could be incredibly powerful and smash the coalition forces in some of their setups? And it's really kind of this, you can play as wretches also, kind of taking cover and sliding along, knocking over the bad guys, taking out the said female Gears, and it proves to be a lot of fun. So it's you and up to 4 friends on Xbox Live, taking on wave after wave of increasingly difficult pop. It's a lot of fun.
Now, unlike Horde, where if I'm playing as a gear and I die, that's it for me in that round. Obviously, if you're playing as a ticker, your purpose is to just explode on somebody. So do you get respawns then?
Well, so what you get is you get tokens that you earn by killing various coalition characters, right? And so the more tokens you get, the bigger creature you can unlock. And some of the creatures will be locked from the beginning. You're not going to be able to play as a berserker from day one. You kind of have to earn that right. But that said, I think the whole unlocking thing has kind of gone insane in the video game industry, whereas you pay $60 for a game and you don't get any features and you have to unlock it for 400 hours. We'll have a good stable of creatures, you'll be able to play as them, then you'll unlock the berserker. Right here you can see we have our Cantus, who kind of acts as our medic class, has the ability to resurrect a lot of the Locust gunners and grenadiers, which is kind of a great thing. You hang back, bring him back into battle, and continue to fight. Here goes the ticker. He's a little bastard, man. He's got the little wiggly butt in the back. And what happens here is you have these great moments where you have a berserker versus the mech exosuit of the Silverback, which is pure magic.
Yeah, that stuff is actually just incredibly awesome. So the control, say, for a ticker is that you have a button where you actually choose when to explode, is that right?
Yeah, you basically hit B to suicide bomb. And you'll find when you try and take out the cog, they'll kind of dive out of the way, and you're like, no, get over here, and you'll get to the point where you get double kills. We often joke at work that the game mode's called Smear the Gear.
Nice. And is this going to be the same setup as Horde, where it's goes up to 50 waves, or?
We haven't quite figured out how many waves there'll be yet. We've played around with different numbers. We want it to be a game mode that you can kind of jump in and play for 5 minutes, or you can play for 4 or 5 hours. So we're still tweaking those numbers right now.
One of the things I loved about Horde mode was that because it had different maps, even though you were fighting against sometimes the same, sort of sets of waves, just the maps themselves made those fights different. Is that kind of the same setup that we're going to get with Beast?
Well, one of the situations we have here is you can see the cog are kind of entrenched, with turrets and fences and things like that. So depending on the map, depending on the layout, you could wind up dealing with an entirely different base setup that could make it a lot more unique or a lot more difficult or a lot more fun. Cool. She can't stop watching the Berserker. She has this Hulk smash, right? And she's like, screw your couch, I'm going to knock it all over.
Well, let's ask that. So, controlling the Berserker, what kind of moves do you have available to you?
From the get-go, she has a kind of a B smash where she kind of smashes the ground, kind of causes a area like radial effect of everybody. But if you press and hold A, she does her traditional Berserker Scream, and then just smashes through everything, kind of like a roadie run from hell. It's a lot of fun. She's also kind of myopic, right? She has kind of bad eyesight. We're still tweaking the mode. It's not quite perfect yet, but it's really kind of bad eyesight, right? You kind of have to deal with that. You have this immense power, but you can't quite see that well.
Cool. And then, I think I'm most interested actually in the Cantus, which is the Locust Priest. So is that sort of maybe like your healer class almost in the game?
Absolutely. The Cantus is kind of the healer class, and you can heal a lot of the bipedal Locust. And the funny thing about doing a class-based mode is that every person likes a different class, which is kind of the beauty of it. Some like being a suicide bomber, some like being a medic, some like being a big monster. We have something for everyone in this mode.
Awesome. And can you tell us when can we expect Gears of War 3?
Gears of War 3 is shipping in April 2011. Spring is the new fall.
It really is. Thanks so much, Cliff.
It's great seeing you.
Good seeing you.
Thanks, guys. It's good to see Marcus and company back in action. Now, if you guys have any comments about what you saw, remember, good to see Marcus and company back in action. Now, if you guys have any comments about what you saw, remember to follow our Twitter at IGN or join our Facebook. Coming up next, we have another epic to get. Remember to follow our Twitter at IGN or join our